Hi there. This video is an exam paper walkthrough of the Edexcel GCSE Mathematics Higher Tier Paper 2 from summer 2023. This paper is worth 80 marks in total, and this is the first video of 4. It will focus on questions 1 to 6, which account for 19 of these marks. Edexcel paper 2s are calculator papers, so a calculator should be used. A little disclaimer: there may be more than one way to answer a question. The methods shown in this video are not the only way some mathematical skills can be applied. Okay, let's get started. Question 1A. Work out the value of this calculation and write down all the figures on your calculator display. So I'm going to enter this into my calculator exactly as it looks there. So I'm going to start with the fraction button because everything's in a fraction, and then on the numerator, and then the denominator, it's 6 plus 2.1, and it's 2.1 that's squared. Enter that in my calculator. It says write down all the figures, so I'm going to write down everything that I can see there. Work out the value of the reciprocal of 0.625. So the reciprocal, it's easy to get it in fraction form. So I'm going to write this as 625 over 1000. For the reciprocal, we're going to flip it upside down. It's whatever we would multiply this by to get 1. So the reciprocal is 1000 over 625. But I'm going to want to try and simplify this. So let's put this in our calculator because it's a calculator paper. And that simplifies to 8 over 5. And that's what I'm going to pop on my answer line. Question 2, write 60 as a product of its prime factor. So I'm going to do a prime factor tree. Two numbers that times together to give me 60. Well, I'm going to go with 2 and 30. Remember, you can use your calculator if you need to. That's not a problem. 2 is prime, so I'm going to circle it, and that ends that branch. Two numbers that multiply to give me 30. 2 and 15. 2 is prime, so I'll circle it to end that branch. Two numbers that multiply to give me 15, 3 times 5, both of which are prime, so now all my branches have ended. So to write it as a product, product means multiply, so it's 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. I can write that on my answer line, or I can combine any matching numbers as a product with powers in index form. It doesn't state which form it wants my answer in, so any of these are going to get me those marks. Question 3. There are 48 counters in a bag. There are only red counters and blue counters in the bag. The number of red counters to the number of blue counters is equal to 1 to 2. Helen has to work out how many red counters are in the bag. She says there are 24 red counters in the bag because 1 is half of 2 and 24 is half of 48. Is Helen correct? You must give a reason for your answer. Well, I'm going to start by working with this ratio to see if she is correct, because I know there's 48 counters in total and they're split red to blue. Well, that 1 plus 2 tells us there's 3 parts in total. 48 divided by 3 is 16. So I would do 16 times 1 and then 16 times 2. These add to 48, 16 plus 32. So actually there's 16 red counters, whereas Helen has said there's 24. So no, Helen's not correct. There are 16 red counters. Question 4, we have this double inequality where n is an integer. An integer is a whole number. Part A, write down the greatest possible value of n. So n can be any value from -2 through to 5. It could be -2 because of that equals sign, but it can't be +5 because there's no line underneath. It's not an equal to symbol. So the greatest possible value of n, if it's an integer, must be 4 because that's the whole number that comes before 5. On the number line below, show the inequality -4 is less than or equal to m and m is less than 1. So we want a circle at -4 and a circle at +1. We're going to join both of those circles with a line. So our range of values, and then we're going to look to see if we need to complete any of these circles, if we need to fill them in. So this is less than or equal to, so that's a filled in circle. This is less than, so that's not a filled in circle. So if it's an equal to symbol, we fill it in. If it's not, we don't. Part C, solve this inequality. So I'm going to solve it like I do a linear equation. So the first thing I want to do is add 4 to both sides. So that leaves me with 2/5 g is less than 6 plus 4, which is 10. Now I'm going to divide by 2/5, and I'm just going to do this in the calculator because I've got a calculator, so why not? So I'm doing 10 divided by 2/5. So that gives me an answer of 25. So this whole thing, including that inequality symbol, needs to go on the answer line. Question 5. Here is a triangle and a rectangle. All measurements are in centimetres. The area of the triangle is 10 centimetres squared greater than the area of the rectangle. Work out the value of x. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to form some expressions for the area of each of these two shapes. So to find the area of a triangle, it's base times height, and then we divide by 2. So the base is 8, the height is 6x, and then we would divide by 2. So 8 times 6, so that's 48x over 2. 48 divided by 2 leaves us with 24x for the area of the triangle. So let's do the rectangle. So we would do length times width. So we would do 5 times 4x subtract 1. These brackets are important because it's 5 times everything in this expression here. So if I expand those brackets, 5 times 4x is 20x, and then 5 times -1 is -5. So we've got an expression for the area of both of those shapes. Now it tells us that the area of the triangle is 10 centimetres greater than the area of the rectangle. So this 24x must be the area of the rectangle, subtract that 10 centimetres extra because it's 10 centimetres extra because it's 10 centimetres greater. This is 10 centimetres bigger, so we've got to add 10 centimetres to the area of our rectangle. Now, let's simplify the right-hand side. So we have 20x, -5 add 10 is +5. So we're going to solve for x because it wants us to work out the value of x. So we're going to subtract 20x from both sides. And then we're going to divide by 4. So x equals 5 divided by 4. You can write it like that on your answer lines, 5 over 4, or if you want to give it as a decimal, pop it into your calculator and then get it in decimal format, which is 1.25. So we're going to put 1.25 on the answer line there. Question 6. Last year, a family recycled 800 kilograms of household waste. 57% of this waste was paper and glass. The weight of the paper recycled to the weight of the glass recycled is written in the ratio 12:7. Calculate the weight of glass that the family recycled. So this ratio deals with paper and glass. Paper and glass is only 57% of this amount. So let's start by finding 57% of 800. So 57% as a multiplier is 0.57. If you weren't sure about that, do 57 divided by 100. Pop it into decimal format, 0.57. So if I do 800 times 0.57, that will tell me 57%. So 456 is 57%. So that is paper and glass. So 456 kilograms paper and glass. Now we're only interested in the weight of glass, so now we need to use this ratio here. So it's paper to glass. So paper to glass is 12:7. 12 plus 7 is 19. So there's 19 parts in total. So I need to share the 456 kilograms into 19 parts. So 456 divided by 19 is 24. Now I'm only interested in the weight of glass, so I could just multiply this side by 24. So 7 times 24 is 168. So 168 kilograms of glass. You could double check, because if you do 12 times 24, which is 288, when we add these together, we should get 456, which is what we were sharing. But the actual answer for the answer line is simply the part for glass, which is 168 kilograms.